Okay. I will be using the organ for at least the postlude, and maybe some gathering. I'm thinking piano probably for gathering. Okay. Okay. Want to try that tempo? Do you have a moment?
Check out touch too.
Yeah, sure. Well, which one you want? I got cards in a whole place right here. Okay.
I mean, I might tend to push it, but
That's fine. I'll follow you.
Yeah.
I will follow you. Yeah, pushing it is not a bad thing. Push is what, 1040. Okay.
I love that extra hour of sleep. How about you? Good morning, well-rested souls. My name is David Horst. Your affiliate minister leading worship with me today is Karen Ethier Waring, Vice President of your Board of Trustees. Gary Elliott is providing the music. We have Jesse Edwards, the one-person worship tech crew, and Tammy Barber has provided the images this morning. Thanks also to all the volunteers who make Sunday morning worship and faith formations happen. Let's take a moment to acknowledge that November is American Indian and Alaskan Native Heritage Month. The month Americans celebrate the rich and diverse Native cultures, traditions, arts, and histories, and we affirm the important contributions of Native peoples. In southeastern Connecticut, we honor the Nahantic, Pequot, Mashantucket, and the Mohegan people as the traditional caretakers of the land on which we worship. November is the month as well when we open our hearts in gratitude as we anticipate the Thanksgiving holiday and gatherings of family and loved ones around the table. And though we have suffered our share of sorrow in the past year, we know that an orientation of gratitude and a daily practice of gratitude leads us to a place of hope and healing. So welcome to All Souls. Where all souls are welcome, we are joyfully called to worship. Please rise in body or in spirit to sing softly but soulfully our opening hymn, number 1040, Hush, verses 1, 2, and 3. Somebody's calling my name. Hush, hush. Somebody's calling.
as is our tradition here at All Souls, every time we gather, we pass the peace. So I'm actually going to ask everyone to stand up again and face the camera. And let's close this circle. So Jesse's waving, so look over at Jesse. And let's close the circle by waving to our friends who are at home. And now let us hold each other in each other's gaze and hearts and pass the peace from your place in this sanctuary.
As Karen lights our chalice, let us say together our chalice lighting words. Now we gather, the season of gratitude. We gather side by side and soul to soul to affirm that even in times of loss, life is precious and good. We light the chalice flame, the symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith, to kindle within us feelings of gratitude, blessedness, and affection, so that our daily words and gestures may be suffused with a soft and gentle glow. We also light a candle, our candle of gratitude with grateful hearts as we enter the Thanksgiving season. Let us today thank again the frontline medical workers and all essential workers who continue to serve us and our needs and to keep us safe. May they know how much we appreciate their service and their devotion.
Turning in and reflecting, as well as a season of love. And David asked me to share this song this morning with you. It's called Thanksgiving Eve. It's so easy to think of the days gone by. It's a hard thing to think of the days to come. But the gift to accept every moment as a gift is a gift that is given to some. What can we do with our life but work and hope? Let your dreams bind your work to your play. What can you do with each moment of your life but love till you've loved it away? Love till you've loved it away. There are sorrows enough for the whole world's end. There is no guarantee but the grave. But the life that I've lived and the time that I've spent are treasures too precious to save. What can we do with our lives but work and hope? Let your dreams bind your work to your play. What can we do of our lives, but love till we've loved it away. Love till we've loved it away. As it is, so it was. As it was, so it shall be. And it shall be while lips that kiss have breath. Many waters indeed serve to nurture love's seed, and its shadow overpowers the shadow of death. What can we do with our days but work and hope? Let your dreams bind your work to your play. What can we do with each moment of our lives but love till we've loved it away? Love till we've loved it away.
Thank you, Karen. Keep the love. Keep loving, loving, loving. Love it all away. Come Sunday, we pause to pay attention to the joys and sorrows that members of this community have experienced in the week past. Joys and sorrows can be shared in this book, in the lobby when you arrive on Sunday morning, or via email at belovedcommunity@allsouls.net, or in the online chat during the service. So let us prepare now our hearts for this time of sharing. Mark Samos asks us to please keep Vivian Samos in our thoughts and prayers as she faces heart surgery this Thursday at Hartford Hospital. Carol Bunting is grateful that her sister had a good and encouraging post-operative appointment with her oncologist. Let us also hold in our hearts the victims at the concert yesterday in Houston. Now I invite anyone who wishes to do so to light a candle of intention at home or here in Unity Hall. As you approach the candles up front, please be mindful of healthy spacing and to maintain our commitment to mask wearing. Remember, you can use the sand bowl to extinguish your match. I invite you to come forward now. Pray. God of our healing and wholeness, we have gathered once more in beloved community to affirm each other's humanity, to share our joys and sorrows, to listen and learn, to sing and to pray, and to be formed in faith, and to be loving presences to each other. In these final months of the year, we turn our hearts and minds in gratitude for all the blessings we have received and the blessings that we can give. So many troubles, so many worries, so much loss, yet we travel on in faith, seeking the good, showing mercy, and trusting in the human potential for decency and generosity. May we live in grace, being open always to the voice of the divine and the great wisdom that comes to us through the ages. Let us pause now for a time of silence, listening to the urgent but small voice of the soul that guides us to be our truest and our best selves. For all the prayers spoken and the prayers we hold quietly in our hearts, we say, Amen. Psalm 61. Hear my cry, O God. Listen to my prayer. From the end of the earth I call to you when my heart is faint. Lead me to the rock that is higher than I, for you are my refuge, a strong tower against the enemy. Let me abide in your tent forever. Find refuge under the shelter of your wings. For you, O God, have heard my vows. You have given me the heritage of those who fear your name. So I will always sing praises to your name as I pay my vows day after day.
This is The Fountain by Denise Levertov. Don't say there is no water to solace the dryness at our hearts. I have seen the fountain springing out of the rock wall and you drinking there. And two, before your eyes, found footholds and climbed to drink the cool water. The woman of that place, shading her eyes, frowned as she watched, but not because she grudged the water, only because she was waiting to see we drank our fill and were refreshed. Don't say there is no water. That fountain is there among its scalloped green and gray stones. It is still there and always there, with its quiet song and strange power to spring in us, up and out through the rock.
On a Sunday afternoon last month, I officiated a funeral service for a dear woman, a beloved sister, daughter, spouse, and mother who died after a struggle with cancer. Family, friends, and loved ones gathered at the funeral home in Norwich to grieve her loss, to tell her story, to see her pictures, to share some poetry, and remember and honor her life. With tears and laughter, her spouse, her cousin, and friends spoke of her life, her accomplishments, and her character. I began the service, as I often do on such sad occasions, with the reassuring words of another psalm, number 121. I lift my eyes to the hills, from where will my help come? My help comes from God who made heaven and earth. And then I concluded the service, as I always do, with an affirmation of life. Carrying her thus in our hearts, I say, let us go forth knowing comfort and peace, assured that even in times of loss and sorrow, life remains precious and good. Life remains precious and good. At times of loss, we are keenly aware of the preciousness and the goodness of life, preciousness and goodness that never ends. That very same Sunday, I spent a precious and good morning with the children in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade faith formation class here at All Souls. The children read together Leo Biscaglia's story, The Fall of Freddie the Leaf, where Freddie learns that leaves change their home in the fall, and that all leaves, no matter how big or small or how weak or strong, return to the ground in a life cycle that's bigger than us. I couldn't help but reflect on these very different but connected experiences on that day. I witnessed the beginnings of life and the end of life, the possibility and the completion, the joy and the sorrow, the life that is, and the memories that go on. What connects these experiences is that wonder spirit of life that shines through everything at every moment, day after day and season after season. I felt the presence of life's spirit as I taught and played with the children, and then later as I mourned and prayed with the family. I felt the cycle of life that reveals meaning and purpose at every moment, every day. And at the end of the day, I felt peace. I felt deep gratitude. Now, as we prepare ourselves for the Thanksgiving holiday, after some hard months in the life of our world, nation, and community, and certainly in our personal lives, we are at the threshold between lingering pain and renewed possibility. And with all of our preparations for the holiday and anticipation of gathering around the Thanksgiving table, we might hardly notice the transformation that is happening within us when grief opens the heart for gratitude. So let us notice, let us be aware, let us appreciate the feeling of gratitude that fills our hearts as we prepare to fill our bellies. Gratitude also supports emotional well-being. Researchers tell us gratitude is good for you and for me. Not only gratitude for specific events in our lives, but also as an orientation of life in which we notice and appreciate the positive things and people and moments in our lives and in the world. This orientation may reduce our emotional distress, even in these very distressing times. Now, I will grant you, however, that an attitude of gratitude these days is not always easy. I have days when I can find very little to be grateful for, especially because I am too focused on my news feed of endlessly depressing news and the cultural and political commentators who rarely find anything positive to say. A better practice might be to focus on what is right before me: my family, my home, church, nature, my animal friends, and in the neighborhood as well as friends and colleagues, and even, and sometimes especially, strangers. Not as a way to detach from the world, but to appreciate the world that I can see, hear, touch right here and right now. Then I find I am better able to cope with the woes of the world and, in turn, do my part to minister to them. Studies have shown the salutary effects of gratitude: a reduced risk of depression, reduced risk of generalized anxiety disorder and substance use disorders. The practice of gratitude may also help us adjust to traumatic events and their aftermath. Now, among the scientifically minded here, we might immediately ask the important question of causality. Are less depressed people more likely to be grateful rather than the opposite? To answer this question, according to a Psychology Today article summarizing the state of research on gratitude, scientists developed intervention programs to promote feelings of gratitude and rigorously evaluated them. The authors reviewed multiple studies examining the effects of intervention, such as daily listing of reasons to be grateful, thinking or writing about gratitude, and expressing gratitude with behaviors such as writing a thank you note to someone. The findings suggest that promoting gratefulness results in a statistically significant increase in positive emotion and decreases in negative emotions and worrying. A study of adolescents also found an increase in satisfaction with school after a gratitude intervention. The findings are not conclusive, but the practice of gratitude seems to improve our overall mental health. And as with many practices that improve our spiritual and emotional health, the practice of gratitude is fairly simple. Saying thank you, often and to everybody, writing thank you notes and emails, maybe calling somebody after a long absence, giving a spouse or a friend a small thank you gift, keeping a gratitude journal, taking a gratitude walk around the neighborhood or park, and other simple but meaningful practices that you may think of. Perhaps some prayer and meditation would be helpful too. As the 13th and 14th century German theologian, philosopher, and mystic Meister Eckhart teaches us, if the only prayer you ever say in your entire life is thank you, it will be enough. Now, I know while gratitude practices are simple, the consistency of the practice might be a little more challenging. So if I may suggest keeping a gratitude journal, maybe just for the month of November, leading up to Thanksgiving, or committing to a gratitude walk once a week for the next few weeks, or as is popular with many families on the day of Thanksgiving, inviting everyone around the table to share a few words of gratitude before the meal is served. Or even more, before dozing off for a nap after the meal, or just before bedtime, perhaps saying a few words of thanks to somebody, or to yourself, or to God, or to the universe. You might find that the practice then becomes the thought, and the thought becomes the attitude, and the attitude becomes the orientation. Inspiring texts, old and new, can also direct us toward gratitude. As we read, the poet proclaims, "I have seen the fountain springing out of the rock wall. It is still there and always there, with its quiet song and strange power to spring in us up and out through the rock." Even in the hardest of times, the water of life springs out of the rock and in us. And the songwriter says, "It's so easy to dream of the days gone by, so hard to think of the times to come. And the grace is to accept every moment as a gift that is given to some." The past is past. What will come will come. In awareness, every moment, we receive many gifts. And then the psalmist pleads, "Let me abide in your tent forever, find refuge under the shelter of your wings." May we be safe in the great canopy of the universe and live within the great creation of blessed earth. In these words, we find assurance and hope. These words affirm that gratitude is also an attitude of faith, especially during hard times and memories of hard times and fears of more hard times to come. By faith, through grace, we may have confidence in life, trust in the future, and truly receive salvation at every moment. Life is precious and good when it begins, when it ends, and when it begins again. An orientation of gratitude and the practice of gratitude induce feelings of well-being in both mind and spirit. We receive living water. We receive the gift of grace. We receive abiding love and divine refuge, which leaves us with nothing left to say but thank you. Nothing left to do but to lift our eyes to the autumn-colored hills. No more words, only silence. Hush, hush. Somebody's calling our name. Let the miracle happen. Behold the miracle happening. Be the miracle that is happening. You see, after the tears, and after the loss, gratitude is the channel through which spiritual and emotional renewal now become possible. We are then, by the power of grace and love, grounded in faith, formed and reformed, healed and made whole in body and in spirit. We have now entered the eve of Thanksgiving. Let's not wait until we are gathered around the table to give thanks. There's reason enough in this moment and on this day. Whatever this day may bring on this journey of struggle and grace, we always walk together. Amen. Let's pause in the silence, gathered souls in communion. When our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. Please rise in body or in spirit as we sing, when our heart is in a holy place. Please say with me the words you'll find in the order of worship. Our service has ended, but our work is not yet done. May our spirits be renewed and our purpose resolved as we meet the challenges of the week. Our chalice flame is extinguished until once again ignited by the strength of our communion. We go forth now, my friends, with grateful hearts and assurance that life is precious and good. Savor this time of preparation for Thanksgiving. Let us be blessed as we are a blessing to others. Love the day, love each other, love the fullness of life. Go in peace.
So just a few announcements. One, most importantly, we remind everyone that our offering is being accepted online and as you leave the sanctuary today. And as always, we are grateful and thank you for all that you offer and sacrifice. Next week's service is a special service, if you haven't heard. We will be celebrating Carolyn's 20th anniversary of ordination and 20th year with us. Isn't that amazing? Yeah. Woo! It's fabulous. Now, in time of COVID, the party will look a little bit differently in that it will not be a large gathering, but it will be a joyful celebration. Lane Campbell will be our celebrant. She grew up here at All Souls, and it's just lovely that she'll be leading the service next week along with Carolyn. Please know that you can bring notes for Carolyn to contribute to the service. And as always, when we have a celebration, there will be cake. Yes. There will be cake. Thank goodness we can have cake. Speaking of cake and coffee, online coffee hour has ended now, but we will have coffee hour here outdoors after the service. So that is happening. We need to also let you know Carol Bunting has started to stay in the hallway on your way in and on the way out to tell you about how we are going to be supporting the families of the Women's Center. We're not going to be adopting families this year. It's going to be a little bit different. So please see her and she will explain more, and I think you'll hear more in the coming weeks. I think that is it. Gary is going to play our postlude. Thank you.